I am back with another video. Alright, well, I gotta respond to Doc 185 because I gotta say that, he's up in his feelings about how that CEO of Gearbox basically told everybody if you're a true fan and you want a game, you'll find a way to get one. That's actually quite facts, people, because gaming has been expensive since creation in the 19 goddamn 80s. So I want to explain to people why gaming is a luxury hobby. Gaming is expensive. If you do not know that already, you're retarded. But my other thing would be is that if you are a true gamer at heart, you will find a way for your wallet and the games to come together in one single concept and do it correctly. So my main thing is that Doc needs to get off his high horse. He needs to basically come to realization that if you're a real fan of gaming, you will actually find time in your energy to get money to actually pay for those games. Now, I've been playing games and video games on PC, Nintendo 64, wonderful PlayStation 2, wonderful 360, wonderful OG Xbox, wonderful Xbox One, wonderful Xbox One X, Xbox Series X, so on and so forth, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, so on and so forth. And I can tell you that I put my video games before anything on my goddamn list. So, if I want to actually afford video games, people, I gotta make sure that video games come first. Video games come before family, they come before women, they come before friends. And they also come at the top-notch priority of your entire spending limit. So, if you are a true gamer, people, you will, as the CEO said, find a way to make it work. And that is total facts. And the fact that people are, scrambling around in terms of needing money for groceries, needing money for gas, needing money to spend on their women, needing money to spend on their families. Yeah, gaming takes a back seat. I agree. But the thing is that if you are a true fan of this industry, you will, and I repeat, you will find a way to make your wallet squash that $80, get those games, and be happy. But my other thing to this point would be is that, if you're not really invested in video games, people, then you're gonna basically drop out because you're not gonna want to spend $80 every single paycheck to buy one game. And I get that, but that's what Game Pass is for, people. That's what that's what game services are for. You get all these games for one low price, and you don't have to spend $80 every week after each paycheck. But as the CEO point out, if you're a true fan of gaming, you will find a way to have a way to make it work. And you will either push groceries aside, you'll put gas aside, you'll put your family aside, you'll put your women aside, you'll put your children aside, you'll put a whole bunch of different things to the side to make sure that that you actually have the money to afford those games. And I totally agree with that CEO, because I agree. We should not have casuals ruin this market because they cannot afford this luxury hobby. And I agree. But those fans that actually are hardcore and actually do spend their money on games, those will be the ones that push us forward. Not the ones that basically scramble every week to try to find a way to afford it. That's not how that works. And that's never how that works, people. Like, never. And I totally agree. That figure, bro. Figure. Trigger figure. But, it's just like, but the thing is that, you got Doc 185 all crying and whining, and you got Hebot crying and whining too. But I agree. People who basically want to put, top priorities first and gaming second, those people won't last. they would never last. They never last for a single fucking second. And that is kind of my point. If you're a true gamer, you will basically find a way to choose games over buying your children dinner. You will find a way to buy games over buying your car gas. You will find a way to basically spend money on games first and other priorities second. That's how that works. And that's always how this will work, people, from this day to the future. That's how that will always work. And you got to accept that, because if you cannot accept that, you're not a true gamer. You're basically just a casual who only wants to play games to pass the time and not because they love it and enjoy it and actually want to spend money on it. So my point would be is that just because you're too poor to afford this luxury hobby, don't take it out on the industry. Don't take it out on the CEOs. Don't take it on the people that are basically telling you if you're too poor to play games, don't play games. That's kind of how that works. But you know what? That's just kind of how people have sensitivities and are really, really sensitive when someone tells them facts. And that's kind of the important thing to remember. And you also got to remember, since I am the only person on this planet that got #1 worldwide, I want you to understand this really, really fast. I choose video games over everything in my personal life. Everything that it would be, priority, whether it be family, girlfriends, children, friends, so on and so forth, my own personal health. I choose video games over all of that, and I make sure that my money goes towards video games first and then other things second. But I also make sure that I have other things to basically support my health, to make sure that I can actually survive and not actually have to worrying about getting food or anything else like that. So, because all my extra money goes towards video games, that's how that works. And since I always make sure that video games come top priority first, my games will always get paid for. And I don't care if it's $80, $90, $100. I don't give a shit. It don't really matter. If I have enough money to buy a PS5, I have enough money to buy video games. That's how that works. If I have enough money to spend money on Netflix, HBO, Paramount, Disney Plus, all the 5G internet, free cell phone service, all that fun jazz, I have the money in my pocket to buy the games that are now going up in price. So, but I personally think that the issue that people have an issue with is that people don't really want to basically force their other priorities aside. They don't want to actually do that, and I get that, but the thing is that you're gonna have to do that if you want to stick to gaming. If you want to stick to gaming and actually, go with the flow of the future, you're gonna have to find a way to make those priorities come second and gaming first. And that is my lesson for the day. But, shout out to Doc 185. I saw his video. I did get his message, but the thing is that he was like, yeah, you're gonna want to be careful about how I choose to get it. I'm like, no, I won't. As long as you do it legally, dude. I don't give a shit how you choose to play games. Hell, sell some of your son's old, gaming hardware, and then pay for it that way. Use your children as an actual stepping stool to get those games. That's how that works. But you know what? I don't really care. But at the end of the day, the CEO was right. If you're a true fan of gaming, you will always find ways to make your wallet work, and that is truly facts. This is Reaper, and I'll catch you guys later.